Hello and welcome to the Fit and Free podcast. This is a podcast for women who want it all, to feel strong and confident in their bodies, as well as enjoying a sneaky mug on a Friday night. I'm an exercise physiologist and sports nutritionist, here to teach you how to achieve your body goals without food and your body controlling your life. So let's jump in. Hello you guys and welcome back to another episode of the Fit and Free podcast. Oh my God, I am on such a high because I just sat down and interviewed my client Claudia, who just finished up a round of the Fit and Free Academy. And oh my God, I just feel so grateful that she's coming on and sharing her story with you guys because honestly, it's actually so inspirational. We spoke about her challenge with under-eating and over-exercising and really getting to a place of eating such low calories and exercising every day and just ultimately consuming her life, to now where she's actually fueling her body correctly, seeing results in her body with this new sense of freedom. So I'm so excited to share this in hopes that it gives you hope that it's actually possible for you as well with the right mindset, exercise, and nutrition strategy. Amazing. Claudia, thank you so much for coming on the podcast with me today. I would love it if you could tell the audience a little bit about you, where you're from and what you do.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So I'm actually from the UK, and in terms of what I do, I work within the financial sector. I'm from a very big Mediterranean Italian family and culture, so it's always very, very busy lifestyle, lots of events to go to, big family and friend events. And yeah, that's me in a very quick summary.
I absolutely love that. And I'm so always jealous of Italian families because I'm like, you know me, I'm such a foodie. So I'm just like, I would love one day to be invited to your family dinner because I've always wanted to have an Italian spread and I haven't had that. So
It is crazy. Every dinner or event is always made up of multiple different courses. You go from little antipasties to starters to a main to dinners to cheese spreads, desserts. It's just all sorts. And the weddings are just a whole different kettle of fish. But it's incredible. But sometimes a bit too much food.
I totally get that. Well, the next time I'm in the UK, I'm definitely ringing you up because I'm coming over. So we've been working together 3 months and a little bit now, which is so amazing. I want to rewind time. I want to go back to where it first started. And I would love if you could share a little bit of your own experience. Where were you before the Fit and Free Academy?
So growing up, I was always probably a much smaller frame. So I never used to have to, I guess, worry about what I ate. And that was very much made up of eating a lot of rubbish. I've got a real sweet tooth. So yeah, chocolates, crisps are my thing any day of the week. So growing up, it was never something that I was conscious of. So I just ate what I wanted when I wanted. When I hit about, I'd say 17, 18, so mid-teens, I really started to notice the weight sort of creep up on me. So I went to uni, my first year of uni, I think I gained about 4 stone, 3-4 stone. And I remember looking in the mirror one day and thinking, oh my God, like you look so different to what you were a year ago. So in that moment, I just thought I had to do something about it. And at that moment, I was still quite young. So I thought, and again, very, very wrong mindset, but I thought there was going to be a quick fix. So jump onto Google, see what's out there. And there were these really restrictive diets where you could eat a boiled egg for breakfast, a slice of bread for lunch, a really small dinner. It was sort of like a 400 or 500 calorie diet. So I did that for a few weeks, noticed the weight drop down, and then I got into bad habits again. So again, I just eat a load of rubbish. Then I sort of finished uni and I thought that's just not a sustainable way of doing things. So again, through social media platforms, I found that you could put yourself into a calorie deficit, which sounded great. It was based on numbers on the scale, but your weight, your lifestyle, and everything like that. So that's where the calorie deficit world started. So I started tracking my food and making sure that I was exercising more. And I started to see some really good results, and I was feeling more happy and confident in myself. I then probably maybe took it a little bit too far. I don't know what the right way to say it is, but I reached a point where my calorie deficit wasn't working anymore. So the only way for me to do that was to reduce my calories even further. And I was getting to the, I don't know, maybe like 1,000 calorie mark, which is nowhere near enough what you need in a day. I was then increasing my cardio, increasing my steps, and my mindset was saying, I have to burn everything that I'm eating off, and that's the only way that I'm going to see the scale go down. And my only measure of success was the scale, which again, through working with you, I have realized is the complete wrong thing. The scale is just the number, and it can't determine everything. Yes, if you are overweight, then the scale does mean something, but at that point, that was not the case at all. It got to the point where I had close ones to me reach out and check in with me to see if I was okay, because they noticed that I was looking unhealthily skinny. I was going in that direction. And it was at that point I thought, do you know what, maybe something isn't right. Maybe I do need to have a look at how I'm fueling my body and the exercises that I'm doing, because even at that point I still look at the body and look at my body and be body checking and thinking, I still feel horrible. I still don't look good. And I'd got to a point where things were so minimal. I was at such a low calorie input and a high exercise threshold that it just wasn't sustainable. So then that's why I started to have a look what was out there, and I came across the Fit and Free Academy.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Claudia. Like, I know so many people are going to be able to relate to that. And I absolutely can relate to that because I also took it too far. So it becomes so toxic. But at the end of the day, you already said it, like it's not necessarily like a physical thing, but it's an internal thing that we have to be looking at as well. So when you're going through this crazy calorie restriction and this excessive exercise, how is that like affecting other areas of your life?
I think the big one for me was probably energy. I'd wake up in the morning and I'd feel good. I'd feel ready to go, ready to start my day. I'd always go to the gym or a class or something in the morning because I'd like to just get it out of the way, so tick in the box. But I'd say early afternoon, I'd start to crash. I'd feel really just like I just didn't have energy to do anything. I also really noticed it in my body myself. I was always really, really cold. Again, through working with you and some of the modules that I've been through on your website, that is one of the side effects of bringing your deficit down so low. So yeah, I think the big things for me were energy and just that feeling cold all the time.
Yeah. What about your social life? How was that affected?
Massively. Sum up in one word, yeah. I'd still make sure that I went out. That wasn't the problem. It wasn't that I wasn't going out, but I'd be really, really conscious of, number one, where I was going. So it'd go one of two ways. I'd either make sure that I knew exactly what was on the menu so I could plan exactly what I would eat and what was involved in that meal. So I'd track it all before and I'd just stick to that and nothing else. So if my friends said, fancy a glass of wine? And I'm like, no, I can't have a glass of wine because mentally, that is what I'd tracked and that was the only thing I was allowed. Or I would go the complete opposite way and it would end up being eating triple what everyone else was eating. And I'd still feel hungry and be like, why have these other people around me, had one plate and they're satisfied? I've had triple and I'm still hungry. So yeah, it had a huge impact from that perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know so many people are struggling with that. God, I used to do the same. I'd go out for Thai. I would eat like a huge pad Thai and I'd look around, I'd still be hungry. And then I look at everyone else and they're like completely finished and full. And I'm just like, what the hell? I could eat like two more plates.
Yeah.
The joy of restriction, right?
Yeah, I always used to, again, if I knew I was going out, I'd make sure that I wouldn't eat breakfast or I wouldn't eat lunch. And I'd
Mhm.
try to save those calories. And I put those in quotation marks, save the
Yeah,
calories, which
proud of
again,
you.
through working with you, I've learned is not the right thing to do. Because when you end up going out, you're so hungry, you're starving, you just end up wanting to eat everything and more.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the worst advice I hear on the internet. So, yeah, I'm so glad that you brought that up. What an amazing journey. So you basically hit rock bottom at this point, right? And you found the Fit and Free Academy, which I love. Was there a little bit of apprehension? Is that the right word? Apprehension?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm the,
Okay.
yeah. I don't want to admit it because, you own the Fit and Free Academy. But yeah, absolutely. I was really apprehensive to joining because I'd come across your page and I'd seen TikToks. And when you talk and you're talking about how the academy works, it's about increasing your calories and fueling your body with more food and
Mm,
less exercise. And all of those were almost triggers, I guess, because the idea of eating more food and eating sandwiches and pasta and all these big heavy carbs that I wasn't used to, yeah, it was a
yeah.
little bit, oh my God, like if I start with Laura, then my weight's just gonna go sky high. But that's not been the case at all. So yeah,
Mm.
there was a little bit of apprehension, but it's one of the best things that I've done.
Oh, I love that. How do you think that you overcame the apprehension? Because I know there are so many people out there with it's that whole core belief, right? Like if I eat carbs,
Mm.
if I increase my calories, I'm going to gain weight. And that fear of weight gain is holding so many women back from actually, achieving their dream body because they keep under fueling. So how did you move through that mindset block?
Um, I just decided trust the process. I was so fed up of believing that there were all of these quick fixes. And, I've been in this cycle not for 10 years, but I started to, put that weight on when I was about 17, 18. And I've tried all the
Mm,
quick fixes. I've tried to eat 400 or 500 calories a day. I've seen that that doesn't work. I've tried to do all the shakes and just have shakes.
mm,
Again, that didn't work after a couple of weeks. And I was just so fed up of trying the quick fixes and nothing actually giving me sustainable results. So it's something that, yes, might seem a little bit scary at first, or you're worried that it might not work. But like I've learned through the Fit and Free Academy, it's not skinny is best, it's fueling your body is best. You're not going to achieve anything by starving your body. One of
mm,
the things that really, really hit me, I guess, when I was going through your modules was as a woman, your body goes through so much to the
mm,
point where women give birth, you end up carrying a child, you're
mm,
fueling you and your child. So why would you put yourself through that? Would you want your friends or family to go through something like that?
mm,
Absolutely not. So
mm.
it was just trying to shift that mindset. And don't get me wrong, it's not an easy process and it takes
It's
time.
not easy.
No, and you will have bad days, as I have seen. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's trusting the process and reminding yourself that you want something that's going to be sustainable. You want something that you'll be able to live your life as you want it, how you want it. If your friends ring you up and say, hey, fancy a margarita, you can say, absolutely. Like it's just about
Yeah.
staying consistent. And, the odd margarita, the odd sweet treat isn't going to throw you off. So yeah, it's just trusting the process and reminding yourself that you want sustainable results and something that's realistic in your lifestyle, not something that's going to work for a week and then you're just going to be back to square one.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So much yes to that, because that is like one of my biggest things in everything that I teach is sustainability. And if you can't do it for the rest of your life, then you're not going to be able to achieve a result with it. So I'm so glad that you said that, because I love it so much. So now I just want to speak to the results that you got after the 12 weeks. What were the biggest like shifts that happened for you after the first round of the Fit and Free Academy?
So one of the big things is probably around my nutrition. So as I've mentioned, I got to a point where I was eating really little and I was so apprehensive about having a sandwich or having a bowl of oats. Like I'd go down for breakfast and I'd see my family having oats and eggs on toast or anything like that. And I would never be able to have that because I couldn't have those carbs because it was going to make me fat. So I think one of the
Mm,
biggest things for me is my nutrition. Sometimes I end up eating
mhm.
4 or 5 slices of bread in a day, which is crazy because before I wouldn't even touch one slice of bread in a day. um, so yeah, just my mindset and mind shift to eating and making sure that I'm fueling my body in the correct way. So that's making sure that I incorporate all of my food groups because they're all as important as each other for different reasons.
Love.
Um, so yeah, I think that's probably my biggest takeaway, just changing my mindset on the nutrition. And yeah, you don't have to do 6, 7 days a week of cardio. Like
Yeah.
that's not always gonna achieve well, it doesn't achieve the results you want, as I've learned. I do 4 weight training sessions and I try to go for a walk every day, which isn't compulsory, but it's just because I work from home quite a lot. I'm sat at a desk all day. So I just need it to clear my head a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, cardio is not always the answer. It's yeah, just finding that balance that works for you.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, so true. How do you feel about those results?
So much happier.
Mm,
Um, yeah, like as we discussed earlier, the social situations have completely shifted. Again, it's not, I don't find myself having to look at menus before. And by all means, I love looking at a menu before just because I like to get excited about where I'm going. So that's
me
just me
too.
anyway. But
Me
I don't
too.
I don't
Don't
do
worry.
it
I do that
because
too.
I don't do it because I have to put everything into my fitness pal. I do it because I'm excited.
Hmm.
So I feel more confident and happier in going out in social situations, which is so, so nice. I've seen family and friends not compliment the way that I eat, but they can see that I'm actually fueling my body correctly. So to me, that is such a win because those loved ones around
Hmm.
me that raised those concerns with me a year or two ago can now actually see that
Hmm.
I'm eating in the right way. So that is a
Hmm.
massive, massive win for me. And I'm also seeing a little bit of shape in my body where I've never seen that shape before. I'm not
Mm.
feeling, don't get me wrong, I've still got a long way to go, and these results don't happen in 12 weeks. They are, it takes a long time to get there, but I'm
Yeah.
definitely seeing more definition and more shape in the way that I look, which is so, so nice. Again, a massive win for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna call you out. Man, Claudia, your glutes are looking fire at the moment. So I think we need to gloat about that bit a little bit more.
It's a massive win for me. I've never seen or had that, to be honest, because my main focus was always cardio. My measure of
Yeah.
success in the gym was how sweaty or how hot I was, which is actually really,
Hmm.
really silly. Like, you don't have to come out of a gym session and be sweating buckets. Like, that should not be your measure of progress. And it was mine at the time. But yeah, like I said, I'm now weight training. You make sure that we mix up my workout routines regularly, which is really important, but also making sure that you do that progressive overload, which again is something that I've learned to do within the Fit and Free Academy. And it's clearly working because we're starting to see some good results.
Absolutely. I always say that. It's like progressive overload training, eating enough, and being consistent for a long period of time. And that's all you need, really. So I'm so glad that you get to experience that firsthand. Was there any other things that you really learned or some big game-changing takeaways over the 12 weeks?
Like I've said before, probably to trust the process. And I know that you say that a
Yeah.
lot during our weekly calls and the modules that you go through as part of the Fit and Free Academy. And the only reason I say that is, being completely open and transparent. I've
Yeah.
had some bad days in those first 12 weeks. I reached out to Laura on a few occasions and I was
You're
like,
not the
"Do you know
only
what?"
one.
Yeah. I was like, "Do you know what? I'm done with this. Like, I think I might have to leave. Like, I'm not seeing the results that I want." And that was because, you know what, the day before I'd been out for dinner and I'd had a few drinks. And you're going to hold on to a little bit more water after going out and having a few drinks. So, yeah, you're going to feel a little bit more bloated and fluffy, as we call it. Um, so, yeah,
Mhm.
just really trust the process because, like we've said earlier in the podcast, there is no quick fix. If you want a sustainable way to, you know, rebuild your body composition and build muscle and have that toned look rather than that skinny fat look, you need to
Mhm.
trust the process. That's not going to happen in a week. It's not going to happen in 12. You're
Mhm.
talking more years. And
Mhm.
yes, years sound quite scary and it sounds like a long time, but in the grand scheme of things, a year or two really is not a long time at all. Like to change your whole body,
Mhm.
that's not a long time. You've got to think like at school, you work, what is it, 6, 7 years to sit your GCSEs or A levels or whatever you're doing at that time.
Literally.
It's a long old
Yeah.
process, and you've got to think to change your body. You're not going to do that in a week or two. It's
Yeah.
making sure that you're doing it sustainably, properly, and in a lifestyle that you can actually work with for the rest of your life, not having to count calories forever. It's not something that you want to pass down to your kids that they can only
Mm.
eat a certain amount of calories. It needs to be sustainable. And especially being in the environment that I'm in with a lot of food and people around me all the time that are wanting to eat a lot of food, you have to learn to just do it intuitively. You shouldn't have to
Mhm.
count numbers all the time. So, yeah, trust the process, guys.
Wow, Claudia, what amazing advice. I love that so much. I want to ask one other question is how did you find having the support, not only from me, but also the other ladies inside the community?
The support has been amazing. I mean, you have been incredible. I actually can't vouch for Laura enough. And I'm not saying that because I'm on her podcast. I
Been
genuinely mean
better.
it from the bottom of my heart. She has been amazing. Every time that I've had a blip, I will send you the most random message or voice note, and you were just on the other end. And you've been so, so supportive and so amazing in reminding me of everything that we've talked about already about trusting the process. And it's about fueling your body and making sure that you're eating the right amount and you're looking after yourself. So you have just been amazing, and I can't recommend the Fit and Free Academy enough. And then on top of that, I started off in the repair and recomp group, which
Mhm.
was again really, really valuable. So the way it worked for me was we had a fortnightly call, and there was about 10, 12 of us in that group at the time, I think. And on that call, we'd go through some of the modules that we'd be watching and listening to before. So Laura would run through different topics each call. So one might be about nutrition, one might be about exercise program, one was about body checking. Um, there was all sorts. I can't list them all now, but it was just so so helpful to hear other people's stories. And it's so important that when you're on that call, if you do join the academy, you open up because
Mhm.
it's amazing how many people actually resonate with you and feel the same. I always
Mhm.
felt so alone in it. But every time I was like, right, do you know what? I'm going to be brave and actually share my story today. Someone would always comment, yeah, me too. I actually felt the same this week, or I felt like that last week. And you could
Mm-hmm.
talk to about it with somebody, and you might learn or take one thing away from that call, and it would just be so, so valuable. And then on top of that, we had the Discord community where we could share how we were feeling on a particular day, or, there was one day I was feeling really deflated and nervous because there was this big event coming up and it involved a lot of alcohol and a lot of food. I shared it with the group, and there were actually two or three other girls that had the exact same thing. And it was so nice that we could all talk amongst ourselves and give each other a little tips, or give each other the actually it's okay. One day isn't going to ruin everything. So it was so, so amazing to be able to share that with other people. And yeah, you've never met these people before, but everyone is so kind. Like everyone is so, so nice. I can't express it enough.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so it was just so nice to have that support and community around you, because me personally, I didn't realize how many people actually felt the same. And people will
Mm-hmm.
say things and you'll be like, yeah, me too. Like I was scared to say that, but other people actually feel it too. And
Yeah.
it's so nice to be a part of that community. It really just motivates you and drives you to be like, this is the right thing. Like I'm not being silly and restricting myself and cutting out food groups or eating a silly amount of calories. This is the right thing to do. And people around me are going through the same thing. So yeah, it's such a lovely community to be a part of.
Yeah. It's the whole thing, right? We don't actually know. Well, I know because like literally I'm helping ladies with the same problems every single day, but like we all, myself included, like we are all struggling so much and we don't even realize it. So to have a community of women who get you, it can be so, so inspirational, motivating, and you just feel no longer, like you said, I love it how you phrase that. It's like you no longer feel crazy and like, what you're doing is like not normal.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, absolutely. I love that so much. So to wrap it all up, Claudia, one, I'm like just honestly so grateful for you to coming on and sharing your story. I know so many people are going to take a lot out of it. Also, like you almost made me cry with what you said because it was so kind. So just to wrap up the episode, if you could go back and give yourself advice back when, like before the Film Free Academy, even once you're amongst the time and space where you were, heavily restricting and over exercising, what advice would that be? What would you tell her?
I, oh, how to sum it up in a sentence. Do you know what? I would actually say to myself, stop comparing yourself to other people. I
Love
think
that,
that was, I
Claudia.
think that's probably one of my biggest things. I think nowadays social media has just blown up.
Yeah.
You end up, you see people on Instagram or TikTok or whatever other social media platform that you're a part of that have got six packs and are super toned or super skinny, and they're wearing anything and everything, and they look absolutely incredible. But you've got to remember that some of these people, i.e., celebrities, have
Mm.
a team of people that will go and fix their face or outfits 7 times a day or more. You've got
Mhm.
influencers, you know, it's a part of their business. So, of course, they're going to share all of the positives from it, but it's just not realistic. Like, you see all of
Mhm.
these people from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., all toned and looking slim and lovely all the time. It's just not realistic. As a woman, you're going to bloat. You have a menstrual cycle, you have a period, you go through so many other things. Your hormones are always going to be imbalanced. They're not going to be perfect. And that in itself is going to fluctuate the way that you look. You might feel fluffier one day, you might feel really good one day. So yeah, number one advice, well, even to me, I have to remind myself, stop comparing yourself to people on social media, because it's just not a realistic look or way of living, because nobody, and I don't care what anybody says, nobody looks that good all of the time. It's just not, it's not a thing.
Literally. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, no, for sure. And like, even from my point of view as well, it's like I create content as a business owner, and like it's so clear that, you know, you get to pick and choose what you put on social media, right? And everyone does it. It's like, you know, you want to be putting the best photos on, and, you know, if you take 10, you can always pick the best one. And of course, you know, that's not a good thing, because like people are seeing this photo and it's like, yeah, that's what you look like all the time. That's not what you fucking look like all the time. That's what I look like when I'm standing there posed with my bum out and hips out and tensing my muscles, you know? So
Yeah.
like, and that's the thing, like sometimes I see these influencers on their photos, and then sometimes I see them in real life and I'm like, holy shit, like that doesn't add up, because they don't look the same. So I think that's such an important skill that you have learned to be able to do, because the Claudia that I met 12 weeks ago wouldn't have been able to even have this conversation. So your growth, just in the way everything that you're speaking to right now, I'm like, who is she? Who is this lady? So you need to be so freaking proud of yourself for the transformation that you have, you know, gone through in the last, not only 12 weeks, but of course, like the last month as well. It's incredible to watch. So go you.
Massive thank you to you for that. I honestly would not be here without Laura. It's been a roller coaster at times, as we know, but it's been the best thing that I've done, because I'm actually, like I said, I'm fueling my body right, and I'm making sure that I'm living a lifestyle that's actually realistic and sustainable, which is so, so important. So I cannot thank you and the Fit and Free Academy enough.
Yay. Well, let's wrap it up there, because I think that's a perfect ending. So thank you so much, Claudia, for coming on and sharing your story. I can't wait for everyone to listen to this. And guys, if you're listening, I want to know your feedback, how it made you feel, and your biggest takeaway from this episode as well. So like always, thank you all for being here. Love you always, and I'll see you in the next episode. The number one challenge that all my clients face before we start working together is a lack of clarity on how much and what to eat to lose weight. Often they are making two huge mistakes: constantly trying to skip meals or eat under 1,600 calories. Secondly, only allowing themselves bad foods like chocolate on the weekend, but end up binging, all to tell themselves they're going to start again on Monday. If you feel like you have tried every diet under the sun and still can't figure out what to eat to achieve your weight loss goals, take my free 2-minute quiz. You can find the link in the show notes down below, and it will help you figure out exactly what you're doing wrong with your nutrition and exercise, and exactly what to do to fix it, so that you can finally be confident in your body and achieve your weight loss goals.